Welcome to Motivational Monday. This is Fed Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. Today, I'd like to give you a guideline of how you can answer the question whether or not you're successful in your life. And if you're not, I can give you some guidelines of how to realign that and feel some success in your life. But before we start, make sure to smash that like button, share, and do subscribe. All right, so there's this really funny comedian and he's having this conversation with his partner and he's talking about it where his partner is trying to convince him to get a smartwatch, and he's telling him all the amenities of it and how amazing it would feel, how he would know how he's feeling. And he's looking at his Rolex watch and he's saying, I have a Rolex watch, I know how I'm feeling, right? Very funny. And on a personal level, yesterday I was having a conversation with a childhood friend of mine. He's really a successful professional in his own right and really, climbed up the corporate ladder in the United States and became a partner in a major consulting company. And yesterday he was telling me how a few months ago, one of the major projects that he was working on fell through. And ever since, he hasn't had anything to do. And so he has all this time on his hands, but yes, he's collecting this massive salary because he's a partner. But yet it doesn't feel justified and he doesn't feel success in the moment. And I was just like, kind of the irony of it. We were just laughing about the irony of it, how he's really successful, but he's not successful because he's not doing anything. But at the same time, he is successful and he's done a lot of work in his life and he's earned that level of success. But sometimes in life, we kind of lose ourselves. We kind of lose focus about what we wanted to do and some of the goals that we wanted to set out for ourselves. And sometimes we're not dreaming high enough, okay? Those are all ailments. But there are certain things that you could ask yourself, whether or not you're feeling that self of whether or not you're in that state of being success. Now, success has nothing to do with the money. Success has to do with, do you feel there's progress in your life? That's the key to success. And it's not just me saying it. It's a lot of other people that have said it, and psychologists that have studied this topic to the brim. But there are certain things that you can answer for yourself. So number one, you feel successful when you're in passionate mode. When you're in a state where you're passionate, when you love talking about something. I remember going in for an interview and it had nothing to do with the financial industries. And this is how I knew that I should go back to the financial industries. At the time I was in leave, I was doing more administrative work and it was earlier in my career. And I'd left the financial industries after a few years. And I was going in for an interview and the interviewer was asking to me about my career in my previous job, which was more related to the financial industries. And I got all animated. I got all alive. She saw the passion in me. And she's like, do you not notice this about yourself, that you have a passion for the financial industries and you're trying to get a job in something else? And it hit me. And sometimes you got to get hit like that in the face, like a nice slap. And I said, you're right. You're totally right. And then I realigned myself and going back to the financial markets. Yes, there are up days, there's down days, but that is my passion. And when you're fulfilling your passion, you're really fulfilling your purpose. I always believe that we all have a certain purpose in life. And once you're doing that, all the cosmos just align and the best version of yourself comes out. Number two is you feel successful when you've given it hard work and discipline. When you're able to do those hard things, and yes, they are hard, but yet they don't feel like that hard. And it's this really interesting place to be where you're working hard. And if you ask somebody, they say, yeah, you're working pretty hard, but you don't feel like you're working hard. And you don't feel like you're putting in the discipline, but it's there. And that is really a successful place to be. Number three, whether or not you're adaptive and innovative. If you're not in the creative zone, if you're not in that state of creativity, then you're not in a successful mode. You're not reinventing yourself. You're not growing. And success really means that you're in a state of constant growing. Yes, there are times that there is no growth apparent, but there's growth inside and there's growth underneath the earth. And I've given this example one too many times of the bamboo, right? It doesn't grow for about 5 years. And the reason it doesn't grow is because it's setting itself certain roots. And then all of a sudden in the 5th or 6th year, it just sprouts like a meter almost a day. Okay, that's crazy. But that's part of it. That's part of the growth. There's sometimes that we grow underneath the skin, but the growth isn't apparent until much later. Number four, continuous learning. we need to continuously learn something. And if you're not reinventing that continuous learning, you're not revisiting it, it doesn't really permeate on different and deeper levels. Yesterday, I was looking over a psychology book that I read over 20 years ago. And I was looking at my notes and I said, wow, I can't believe that bothered me. And I can't believe I had that. And I'm much more aware of that. And took me a while to really realign myself and get back into that headspace. But, it was instant. It must have been a communication that I had learned. It's a language. It's a new language, a psychology language that I've learned and I've put into the system. And that's fantastic. That shows real growth. And to me, that was really an eye-opener. Number 5, if you're not taking risks, if you're not constantly showing up with extra amount of courage, then you're not really growing. You're not really feeling successful. That is another way that we feel alive. If we take like a little bit of a risk, it doesn't have to be a life-threatening risk. It doesn't have to be a financial risk. It just has to be like outside of our comfort zone, just by a little bit, just doing something, on a daily basis that is not part of the routine makes you feel alive one more time. And lastly, and most importantly, being self-aware, being reflective on your life. And I've seen this with many people in my life that were really successful, that they were always reflective. They always looked at some of the things that they did right, but even more importantly, what they did wrong. You learn from things that you do wrong. You don't necessarily learn from things you do right because you did it right. But the things that we do wrong in life, those are the lessons that we do in life. And if you can answer all these questions, or you could realign yourself to answering these questions and put yourself in a state where you're learning, where you're working hard, where you're feeling passionate about something, whether you're adapting, whether or not you're continuously learning, reflective, that's the path to being successful. Thank you for joining me for this Motivational Mondays. We'll see you here next week.